Ladies and gentlemen, how do?
Hello and welcome to Mondo Street Social Club, a new podcast aimed at bringing creative minds together. Mondo Street is about sharing the creative process, discussing the highs and lows, and talking about how we cope when the creative genie eludes us. Pull up your comfy chair, put in your best headphones, and enjoy the next hour. Hello and welcome to Mondo Street Social Club. Tonight's guest is Carol Hodge, singer-songwriter, multi-talented. The number of bands that you play in, Carol, is quite breathtaking. And I must say that your new album has gone right to the top of my listen, and listen again list. So welcome.
Thank you. That's quite an accolade to be at the top of that list.
You haven't seen the competition yet, so
well, irrespective, I'm still honoured. I don't have any relatives that are well known. Although people think I'm related to Chas Hodges from Chas and Dave.
Oh, right, okay.
Even though we have different surnames, just we both play piano. Like, I don't know where that comes from, but yeah. That's my closest thing.
So somebody's playing word association there and not understanding the rules.
Yeah, absolutely. What I like to do now is, first of all, be disciplined enough to have a writing routine, which means that for me at the moment, at least twice a week, I sit down at my piano with all my recording gear and I write. And it doesn't matter what I write, I just write for at least an hour and crack the back of it and do it. I also like to, and I've found that through doing this, I get way more interesting results. Is I like to light a candle. I like to light some incense, and I like to meditate for a few minutes with the intention of I'm opening up my creative channel. Excellent. And whatever is out there in the ether, feel free to come and join me. Feel free to communicate through me. I'm open to ideas.
Okay. So you wake up tomorrow morning, headline says, Hollywood making movie of Carol Hodge life.
Right.
Who's going to play you?
Do you know, I was joking about this with my boyfriend last night. And I said, I don't know why, but I said Drew Barrymore.
Oh yeah.
Just because I think she'd get my, I don't know, my sort of silliness and sarcasm, and yeah.
You mentioned the pianist with seven fingers. The cover of The Crippling Space Between. Yeah. Where did that come from? Because I think that's really quite clever.
Yeah, so basically, I used to be a piano teacher as well, which again is even more preposterous. So I teach students online, and sometimes with the more advanced students, because I'm a little bit dyspraxic, I would really struggle to think of the sort of fingering, like, because obviously in piano your fingers are number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your thumbs are 1, and then pointy fingers are 2, moving out. So sometimes with my, like, because I don't have the full 5 fingers, sometimes I'd be like, which finger is it? So I bought a couple of fake hands on Amazon, right? And these were they're basically for nail technicians to practice painting nails. So I had these 2 spare hands so I could try and like figure out what fingers would be what. And I just took them to the photo shoot for the album. And I worked with a great photographer called Deb Ellis. And I was just like, she was like, oh, do you want to do something with one of those hands? And I was like, yeah. So it's just like I'm pulling it off, sort of thing. You know?
It's almost like a ta-da.
Yeah, it's like a magic trick, but with a little bit of a raised eyebrow for the camera, sort of thing.
It's a cracking picture. Today I am joined by Matthew Robinson, award-winning director, writer, and producer, all the way from sunny Los Angeles, while I sit in rainy, grey Derbyshire. Matthew, hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me here on the show today. While I was in college, I made 2, during the summers when I went home, I made 2 feature films with my friends. and and then I made another feature film in college with my buddies that was kind of became our senior thesis. And that one you can actually watch on Amazon Prime. It's called Death Suspects a Murder, and it's got a couple of actors on there who you might recognize. They've gone on to become fairly successful, like Michelle Weaver, who was on the Oprah Winfrey Network show Love Is, Council of Dads on NBC. Now she's on a Real House Husbands of Hollywood. So there's been some people and some things that we've done, and we've gotten to experiment with it.
When did you realize that you could actually make a living out of it?
Oh, it's a weird thing, and I don't mean this in an arrogant way, but I always felt like I was going to make a living off of it. There was never really a moment where there were some times where I definitely had some doubts that I could cut it in LA. How am I gonna make it in a city this big? It's like I'm just gonna transfer to Ohio State. It's less money. I'll be happier. I'll be able to make more friends. And my mother was like, I will literally I was like, I will literally cut you off if you move out of LA. You don't use like you are always gonna do this. This is what you were meant to do. Suck it up, you know. And it's like you don't get to come back here and give up and then expect us to just be okay with that. So that was kind of the kick in the pants I needed.
Mhm.
But I always knew I could do it. This past year, I've been working completely freelance, and even though I sometimes it feels like I'm dog paddling to keep my head above water, every time it looks like, how am I going to pay this bill? How am I going to catch up on the rent? How am I going to do this? I'll get a job. I'll get a gig. I'll get that next thing.
Yeah.
Whether it's producing, directing, or writing something for someone, and then all of a sudden I'm okay.
Is there an actor who you would absolutely love to work with?
Gosh, man, it's now they're gonna listen to this, and all the other actors who I want to work with will be like, "Oh, he didn't mention me." No, there's so many actors I want, but I won't, belabor the point with a lot. But if I may give three really quick answers. The first, yeah, I would love to work with Sanaa Lathan. I've read in the script that I think she would be perfect for the lead. I've always appreciated her acting since loving basketball, growing up seeing her as a kid. I think she's a tremendous actress who's underutilized in the industry, and I would love, love to work with her. Um, another person I've always wanted to work with, always wanted to get something with is Rachel McAdams. I think she is another underrated and underappreciated actress. I don't think she ever misses. I think no matter what the medium is, the genre, the tone, the character she's playing, she always gives just like a spot on performance. And it's almost like, you're just like, wow, how did she do that? And then I think, to throw maybe someone else in there just to mix it up a little bit. Another actor I would truly, I mean, this is kind of a cheat. I acknowledge that this is kind of a cheat, but I would love to work with Lakeith Stanfield, who was in like Judas and the Black Messiah. He had a very small part in Get Out. He's been doing a lot of stuff. He was on a show Atlanta. I just think he's a really magnetic actor, and there's something about him. There's a quiet power to him.
Our guest today is Christian Reeve. Now, Christian, you've got a very long list of talents here, so I'm going to read some of them off. Podcaster, writer, actor, voice actor, musician, poet, marketing professional, and YouTuber. Did you leave anything for the rest of us?
Yeah, I mean, when I write music, when I play music, perform, versus when I act, versus when I do voice acting, versus when I do podcasting, all of those different things have different requirements, different approaches, different, research requirements. They require different parts of you. They make you feel different things.
Yeah.
And that to me is kind of the whole point of it. Well, here's another thing as well. If you constantly go on about, oh, I just don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this many followers, you're just alienating your audience. It's like, well, I'm here,
I'm
listening. Like,
Yeah.
So am I not good enough? I get people say that sometimes. Like I had a live stream the other day, and this happens every once in a while. It doesn't happen so much anymore, but I'll usually have a handful of people in any given live stream,
Okay.
be it Twitch, TikTok. There's more reach on TikTok, so maybe I'll get somewhere in the region of like 5 to 20 people per session.
Okay.
Usually it averages around 10, 11 people. And
Yeah.
it goes back and forth depending
Mhm.
on various factors. Some of those people will be like regulars, people that have been following for many years. Some of those are friends. And some of them are just new people coming back and forth, you
Yeah.
know, whatever. Twitch is a bit more intimate. That tends to just be like your hardcore followers and very rarely someone new.
Mhm.
So it varies. And I do different things across those platforms. Anyway, I did this particular stream the other night. There's like 1 or 2 people there. A few people pop in, leave, and then it's just me and my friend there. And she was just like, "Oh, it's just us." And I was like, "Yeah, but like to me, like it means a lot that you're here. Like,
Totally. Yeah.
you know, it's like a new chapter. It's like I don't wince as much when I do my editing and hear myself
Mm.
talking as much as I used to.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like,
Yeah. But
maybe I got something here. I don't know.
yeah, but the first time it's 50% of your own track is like, oh no, mute quickly, I don't want to hear that.
Well, do you know what's funny? Actually, I still do this. Actually, anytime I do the editing, and I'm clipping it up,
Mm.
like I make sure there's minimal or no parts of me,
Yeah.
and I realize that like, through the last 6 months or whatever, like you go on any clips,
Yeah.
there's rarely any
It's getting
signs
less
of
and
me.
less
You
and
don't even
less.
see me. Like you wouldn't even know it's my podcast.
Brilliant.
But I don't know. I find it funny.
I think one thing that I wanted to get everybody to watch, if they've got a spare couple of minutes, is the YouTube video of you being interviewed about when you were in Tenet. And
Mm.
I just thought that was really, really entertaining, dead interesting, because
Oh.
we all have these these ideas that these $250 million Hollywood blockbusters are these so shiny and so beautiful,
Nope.
but you brought it right down to earth, and it was brilliant. I
Well,
truly enjoyed
I'll
that.
tell one story here.
Mm.
Like, there was a rumor going around for a long time that, like, on Christopher Nolan movies, like he
Yeah.
doesn't provide like chairs for people to sit on.
Right, okay.
And I will say this: I never thought about like I don't think I've ever been on a movie set where there's like been explicitly like chairs provided for everyone to sit down. It's kind of just like find somewhere to sit, like you know what I'm saying, like you just but whatever. So in defense of him, I don't think that's ever really been a thing.
Today I'm joined by Christina Alagaratnam, multi-award winning playwright, author and podcaster. I don't know if there's any particular order that I should say those things in. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm well, thank you.
So really, Christina, welcome to the podcast. Looking at your achievements so far, they're really quite awe-inspiring, and I'm sure there's a really good story about how you got to where you are now. So do you want to fill us in on who you are?
Sure. Hi, I'm Christina, and I'm a writer from London. I've been writing pretty much my entire life, but I only decided to pursue it as a career after university. I studied writing at university, but it was when you're studying writing, there's so many different writing avenues available for you. Like, do I go to journalism, blogging? There's all kinds of stuff. And for me, I like writing to books and prose. I like that, and that's what we're trained in. But for me, writing for film or TV and theatre is something I've always felt quite called to do, and I find quite easy to sort of, you have to tell a story through dialogue. A lot of it is, and I find that I really like doing that. When I was 15, I wrote a poem. The entire class was encouraged to write a poem about something we saw in a newspaper, just a picture, and write a poem about it. And I wrote just a poem called Gearing Together or something. It was just a woman holding a wine glass, and I kind of just had this image in my mind of a New Year's Eve or New Year's, and I wrote about her trying to get her life together.
And how does that stack up now with your style? I take it you've evolved massively.
Maybe, I think so. I like to think so.
That spotlight coming onto you so quickly and so firmly must have been quite a bit of a jolt.
It was, it is still, because I think where I was in around January, February, the reason why I got into the festival circuit and sending my work out there and having the confidence to do that is because with the Beach House, that was a play I wrote. It was my second play. I wrote it 7 years ago, well, 6 years from last year, and I was just thinking, I haven't done anything with it. What's wrong with it? I want to try and get it revived again, but I didn't know where to start. And so I thought, I need feedback. I need to figure out what's wrong with it. So I sent it off to this competition called run by a company called Scriptwriters & Co, which are really, really great. They're based in Bath and they really promote new writers. It doesn't matter what stage of your career you're in, but if anything, from stage to screen to micro shorts and all that kind of stuff. And one of the options was to give feedback, like for the stage play category, and they were having a writers festival in April, so this was back in Jan last year, and I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna send it for feedback. It's not gonna get anywhere, but I just want to get the feedback. Like I didn't really think I was gonna get shortlisted into the festival at all, because that script was, constantly just not going anywhere and being rejected. I just kind of thought, okay, I need to figure out what's wrong with it. I need to fix it. So then I sent it in, and then a couple of weeks later, I get this email saying that I was a quarter finalist, and I thought, wait, what? and then I kind of think, oh no, because I didn't edit that script at all. That was my writing style from when I was like in my early 20s, and I just left, and I thought, oh, what have I done? And then suddenly I became semi-finalist, and then a finalist, and then I got invited to go to Bath for the award ceremony and to just meet people, and it was my first writers festival ever. And even though I didn't win, I was still able to say that I got finalisted from a script.
Tonight I'm joined by Main Street Detour, a band from Pittsburgh in the United States, for people that don't know where Pittsburgh is. We're joined by Dan on drums. Say hi, Dan.
Hello. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan. Well done. Nico on guitar. Hello.
Hello.
And Shane. Howdy.
Howdy.
Right. Okay. So the first port of call, gentlemen, is tell me about yourselves. Tell me about how Main Street Detour came about.
Shane's love for ska.
Oh God, yeah. So weirdly enough, is I started the idea of wanting to do a band, and I wanted it to be a ska band because I knew a bunch of like sax players at the time, and yeah, that didn't happen. So I went with the next best thing, and
well, actually, technically we didn't meet, but he got acquainted with kind of who I am.
Just because Dan has big goofball energy. So
this damn straight.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at now. It started out as a cover band in college, and now we're doing originals and whatnot. So it's cool.
It's Thursday. It's time to get paid. It's time to waste all my money in less than 20 minutes. Try to fill the void, or maybe I can partially diminish that sinking feeling that is building in my gut.
Yeah, that, and then we really like Knocked Loose. We love hardcore music, especially me, Shane, and Dan. But that's pretty much all I've been listening to lately. And just the stinkiest metal you can think of as well.
I love that stinky metal.
Yeah, that noisecore is what it's called, I guess. But
today I'm joined by Kimberly Voice from Rogue Awakening, who is the singer for Rogue Awakening, and her surname really is Voice. So, Kimberly, hi.
Hi. It really is Voice.
It really is, yeah.
We have a joke that I spent a long time trying to find my husband just to marry him for his last name. I don't even really like him.
I was going to say, because it's almost, if that was your maiden name, it's almost like being predestined to be a singer.
I know, right? I know. Disappointing, but it's not. I should say that it is, but I had to marry a man for it,
Well, as long as it's not a stage name, but you're fine. So that's Voice. Yeah, wow. So Rogue Awakening then. So a female-fronted, hard rock band.
Yeah.
With elements of alternative and punk and rock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have quite a diverse kind of genre, I think, because we've all got really diverse musical tastes.
Okay.
So we have the lead guitarist, Ollie, and our bassist, Nick, who really are into quite heavy, hardcore. I mean, one of them listens to bands that has like pig squealing noises. Just the kind of bands where you cannot read the font of the
Yeah.
name, so you have no idea what they're called. Bass band, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think my influences are a little bit more melodic. I
Okay.
grew up with a lot of kind of 70s and
Yeah.
80s rock.
Mhm.
Love a bit of Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's very diverse. We're a little bit of everything.
I've spoken to a lot of musicians over the past couple of weeks, and they've all spoken about that moment where it's almost like you're on the motorway and you put the car into sixth gear and it's cruising,
Mhm.
and that's your mind and your body and your creativity. Yeah, the
Like,
sweet
as a
spot.
musician, it's the sweet spot when you can get that, and I feel like Overshadowed for me, and a song that we've been working on, that we're actually recording on Sunday, which is gonna go onto our, new EP, which we're gonna release in July, is called Feed Me Fire, and again, the song the boys in the band might all be like, "No, we slogged over this for hours," and, there's blood, sweat, and tears, but for me, it feels very much like, it evolved naturally. Everything slotted into place, and it was that sweet spot when it all comes together, and it's like, "Oh, the best. Oh, it's the best."
So, do you bring a producer in, or do you produce the songs yourselves? Because the recording on Overshadowed is really good.
Yeah, thank
I've got
you.
this thing about soundstage. I like a big sound, but not too big. Not Frankie Goes to Hollywood, where everything's 10 foot wide, but it's
Mhm.
got a real good soundstage to it, so it's easy to pick out the individual instruments and they're not
Yeah, love that.
overpowering your voice.
Yeah, love that. So, we use a local studio and a gentleman called Nick, who is a really, he's become a friend of the band, really. So we record at his studio, which is called Ignite AMR. And, yeah, I think when we recorded Bored with him the first time as well, and I think he kind of understood our sound, but it was a lot stripped back. Like I said, it was quite simple, and we were still trying to find ourselves. When we took him Overshadowed, it was a lot more formed. Like I said, it had kind of evolved naturally anyway. So he was then able to say, right, I am now starting to see your personalities, how this all combines, and how this works together as a structured song. So he was then able, I think, to have a bit more freedom. So again, we give him quite a lot of sort of artistic freedom with how he does it, and he'll send us the stems, and we'll kind of put our input in it, and we all like to record in the same room together. We're all there for it, so we'll be giving kind of ongoing feedback as we're recording. And then he came to see us live for one of our last shows, and again he was like, "Now I've seen you live, I can now see the juiciness, the spiciness of your kind of live sound and what you're trying to do." So he's now going to incorporate that into the next couple of recordings that we're doing with him. So I feel like they're going to be another level up.
Today, I have the great honor of introducing my friend Tommy Taylor. Tommy is the Yorkshire powerhouse for music. I'll let Tommy give you his full CV. But yeah, over to you, Tommy. Welcome.
All right, Phil. Thanks for having us.
Hey, no worries.
It's a pleasure. Powerhouse. That's a bit of a. I haven't been I haven't been a powerhouse for a couple of years, to be honest. But recording wise, I am. So we'll get
Yeah,
into that. Yeah.
yeah. I think the powerhouse references how much work you do
I do. Yeah.
in promoting music, not just in Yorkshire, but
Yeah.
everywhere, and what you do for the community with music as well. So just
Yeah.
let everybody
Definitely.
know who you are, what you're about.
Yeah. My name's Tommy. Well, we'll go back to the beginning. To be honest, I was 14. I started DJing. I was the first person in the school to get a pair of turntables, which was cool.
Nice.
So I was into my basically I was into like hip hop and turntablism back then. It was like the skateboarding era, Phil, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got into that. Put a load of parties on at the school and up in fields and on the beach and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so that's where my love for playing out and playing came from. And then that evolved into the when the rave era came, and we went into the warehouses and all that. We won't go too heavy into that later. But
can you remember most of it though?
Well, I hate to say the cliche word of like a rebel in yourself or whatever, but it was going in them warehouses and running away from the police and that skateboarding, and it was all. So I think them days sort of set me up for who I am today.
Okay.
And then I picked up a guitar pretty late. I was 25 years old, to be honest.
Wow. Because you've got your own studio.
I have, yeah.
Yeah. What's that studio called again?
It's called Rebel Audio.
Rebel Audio.
Yeah.
Okay. And you actually do recording and producing for other artists?
I do, yeah. I've just finished an EP for a band in America, in Oregon.
Yeah.
And they're producing that with a guy from the 90s and 80s band Slaughter. So I'm busy like doing little bits, and so I've done their studio demo to take into the guy from Slaughter and stuff. So and that was my latest work. But I've had a few number ones and all that bullshit, and so I'm busy doing little bits and
But so do you think after that couple of years where it wasn't really fulfilling you, do you think you've found a direction now? Because I've noticed over the past 12 months your output musically has gone up like tenfold compared to a couple of years ago. So is that part of your expression of finding who you want to be?
Absolutely, yeah. That's all it is. Like a certain song would be like, because I'm an engineer at heart as well, as you know, and one song might be to work on a compression of a snare or the reverb tail in a thing, and I'd use a song to learn that or to perfect it.
Yeah.
And I always have an idea because I like visual music, and a lot of stuff is like revolved around 8 bars, 12 bars of like a motif or an idea or a sample.
Yeah.
Because I bring samples in because that's from my hip hop days, DJing and film and stuff like that. So so everything I put out is just like, right, find who you are, go back to who you were, why do you enjoy this music, Right, I'll tell you the idea of the album, and it's pretty like, I don't know, grim, but I want like a legacy of who I have been since 15 years old to now.
Yeah.
And I don't want that legacy to be left online. I want it to be like a photo album, like my kids' kids will that's what their great granddad did, or that, and they can hear me and they can see, right, he scratched, he DJ'd, he mixed, he sang, he produced, he was into film.
Yeah.
And I've got like a Polaroid camera. I take clips of what I'm doing and I chuck them in a suitcase in the corner of the studio. And that's building up. I have a journal, I put that in the suitcase. So every before I'd post online, I put it in a suitcase. So in 12 months' time, that'll become part of the record sleeve, the everything, and I just want to put it all out at once and go, there you go. That's the idea of the album. So just me on wax, as you'd say. And
it's a lovely idea though, going another cliche term, old school, but removing that digital element where there's all that pressure. You put something up and just give me a load of likes and a load of shares, but you're keeping it in an analog format, which is far more tangible. And you when you touch that photograph, that'll no doubt bring back a sound or a smell.
That's it.
Yeah,
it means so much more than 3 likes, Phil. I want musicians to get back to that in a way. I really do. They're so I do honestly think the social media takes over their art.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Thank you to our guest. As always, please like, share and subscribe. Feel free to hit us up on any of the socials. On our website is www.mondostreet.co.uk. Looking forward to seeing you again on our next episode. Bye.